Welcome back to the Backdoor podcast. I'm Steph.
And I'm Kales.
Today we're going to be talking about how scorekeeping doesn't start toxic. It starts when effort feels unequal.
And resentment is just the unspoken math.
Okay.
I cannot pronounce my words today. Quite giggly because I can't pronounce nothing. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, please be sure to rate us a 5-star. It promotes us to other people so they can listen to our valuable information about relationship advice on this podcast.
Yeah, especially if you're on Apple, because Apple, it seems like people rate us not less overall, but like
the least amount of ratings.
Yeah, there's not as many ratings as like Spotify and stuff. So make sure to rate us a 5-star. It would really help us. We would really appreciate it.
We recently just dropped a relationship reset blueprint. It's a 30-day framework on communication and building a stronger connection with your partner. The link for that will always be in the description on whatever platform you're listening on. It's basically just a sum of a lot of things we talk about in our podcasts, on our TikToks, and everything, and all the information we feel is valuable to other people that we've learned within our 10-year relationship.
Yeah.
Is put into that guide. So that will always be in the description, and make sure to check it out if you feel like that's something that would resonate with you.
People have been responding to it relatively well. It's been out for a few days now.
Yes. So let's get to talking. What is the silent scoreboard in a relationship? I feel like we all know that there is one.
Yep.
But like, what is it?
And how strict are you on the scoreboard? Like, do you give it a lot of attention or not? Because there's certain things that like it's not a bad thing. Like for us, for an example, something that's we keep track of, but it's not a bad thing.
It's just like a mental note.
When our daughter poops, we will take turns changing the poopy diapers. And so we'll keep score technically because we're like, oh, I did the last one or I did the last two, whatever. Like with that said, though, if I did the last 2 or 3 and she really needs to be changed and you're doing something, we're still going to change her diaper.
Right.
And not like bitch about it, but like you probably got the next one then. Like
yeah.
Whatever.
And we don't include usually potty diapers.
Yeah.
It's usually every other poopy.
Yeah. I just don't want people to be like, well, you have to just change her diaper. It shouldn't matter who has to do it. No,
don't get it twisted.
We're not going to let her sit in it. It's just like a mental thing that we
within
do.
A couple minutes. If things aren't happening or moving within a couple minutes, then we'll just take care of it.
Yeah.
These are examples of what could be on the silent scoreboard. Who initiates sex more?
Yep.
Who apologizes first?
Yep.
Who pays more?
Yep.
Who plans more dates?
Yep.
Who sacrifices more? And who is trying harder?
Yep.
Those are all
big things.
Perfect examples of what's on the silent scoreboard. And I feel like it's probably in a lot of relationships, to be honest.
Yeah, I think even when, like, because I don't care for scorekeeping, it's not something that, like...
Scorekeeping sounds so silly.
It's not something you, like, prioritize, but it's something that, like, you're aware of, even if you're not scorekeeping. Like, we don't have to count how many times one of us initiates to know who does it more. Mm-hmm. We don't have to count how many dates we've planned in the last year to know who does it more. Like, these are already understood things in our relationship. So you can keep score, you don't have to keep score, but there is an understanding of it regardless.
Well, another understanding in our relationship is we basically do everything as close to 50-50 as we can.
Yeah.
And so...
sometimes it's a little less, sometimes a little more.
Yeah. But, like, I feel like no matter what, the scoreboard is always there. It's just, like, a mental note, though, in the back of your head. But, like, if you start to notice you doing more of initiating sex or I'm planning more dates, then it, like, almost rises to your attention in your mind that ding, 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 like, you're doing more.
Yeah.
So it's, like, it never goes away, but it's still there.
Yeah. I noticed that people who say that they don't keep score on anything tend to be people who are doing less.
Maybe.
But it's not necessarily always that bad of a thing. Like, because I say I don't keep score, but like to an extent, like, and like I still have the understanding of who typically does more in each category. So like, I guess I keep score.
Yeah.
But then there's some people who are like, nope, I don't care. I don't care who did this. I don't care who did what. And 9 out of 10 times, they're probably the person who didn't do anything.
Yeah. I feel like keeping score has its goods and bads, like pros and cons.
Yeah. I just don't think it needs to be so specific. Like,
No.
you don't need to tally. You don't need to, like, you know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't need to be like super down to the exact thing.
Right.
You know, like that's a little extreme. I mean, if that works for you, then so be it, you know.
Whatever,
But
yeah.
so the next one, we're going to talk about a hyper-focused topic of in the bedroom scoreboard.
Okay.
I feel like this is a very common one in relationships. So like, I initiated the last 3 times. You rejected me twice this week. You only want to do it when you want to do it. Or I'm tired of being the one trying.
Yeah, this topic specifically is way easier to keep track of.
Yeah.
Because you think about it like so intently in the moment. Like, specifically if you've been rejected multiple times over the last week. Like, these are all a topic that your brain is thinking hard about and it's recent. Like, you're going to keep track of that way easier. You're going to be like, hey, look, I tried 4 times. We didn't do it at all. What's going on?
I also feel like sex is like a big event.
Yeah.
Like bigger than just like a small little task. Like,
right.
I took out the trash.
Right.
When that's something that could happen twice a day.
Yeah.
Every day. But sex is not something that takes 2 seconds or happens every day for that matter.
Sometimes.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. It's more of like an event. So like, yeah, you're going to keep a mental scoreboard of like, if I'm the only one initiating or if you're always saying no, or, you know, you only do it when one person wants to do it. So that's definitely going to be on the scoreboard.
Yeah, but I feel like 9 out of 10 times the understanding is the guy tries more already.
Yeah, probably.
So.
I feel like we've seen that a lot amongst our comments and just our friends and our relationship and everything.
Yeah, overall in the big picture, yeah.
Yeah, but then again, every relationship is different. So if you're the woman who is initiating more, then there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody finds their happy median within a relationship, so.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it matters who does it overall more either, because like you can still go through spurts of the other person trying more and then having those moments of scorekeeping, like, hey, I know I've tried, like, if I try the most overall, it's one thing. But if I'm not trying for like a few days or a week and you're trying those days and I'm rejecting, then it's going to be easy for you to keep score, and the score is in your favor. Not technically your favor, but you know what I mean.
In quotes.
Yeah. Like, it's a point for you to be annoyed about and bring it to my attention because it's recent. Like, recency matters.
Yeah, I also feel like the cons about keeping the scoreboard so like intact is like sex becomes effort currency, which is not necessarily a good thing because when effort isn't reciprocated, it builds resentment. So it can cause like more issues, and like we've talked about so many times on podcasts, like sex can be taken in so many different ways. Like the feelings that you get with rejection or being wanted or appreciated, or just like there's so many feelings that come along with it that it can be taken so deeper than it needs to be.
When you said effort currency, it made me think of a kind of a good example. It's like
an exchange.
Yeah. So like, you know, saying you'll do stuff with me if, you know, I do these chores around the house. Like, so now I'm putting an effort for that. And yeah, it's like an exchange. And then also it makes the sexual experience not even as good because it's like, at least for me, and speaking for myself, I would want you to want it too.
Yeah.
So like, if you're only doing it because, I took the trash out and did the dishes, then it's like a guilt. It's like pity sex.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you want it too. It's like, all right, I got to do this for you because you did what I asked, type thing.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
That is also when it can build resentment because that's not like healthy.
Yeah, I agree.
So all around, to sum that up, sex isn't always about sex. It's about feeling wanted.
Yeah,
So
exactly what I said.
okay, so another one I have is the financial scoreboard.
Oh, yes.
So that's a big one too. Just right up there with sex. It's
big for most people.
So like the higher earner feels more pressure.
Mm-hmm.
The lower earner feels judged.
Yep.
The stay-at-home partner feels invisible. And the working partner is exhausted.
Money you could talk about for literally days.
Yep.
Like, it causes so many subtle but impactful things. And I do think the higher earner, like, making more matters. Like, because you are responsible for more. So, like, financially speaking anyways. Even if you're not responsible for it. Even if, like, I make more than you, but, like, you're responsible for a utility bill.
Yeah.
Like, technically I'm not responsible for the utility bill, but since you make less, if something comes up for you and you can't afford it, then I have to cover it. I'm still technically responsible. It's just I'm the second option.
You're just a liability.
Yeah, like, I'm worst case scenario now. My income is doing that. And I know everybody does their money things differently with high earners and low earners, but money can just cause a ton of problems. It's like, if I make dog shit money and you make good money, I'm going to feel judged.
Yeah, I do feel like a good thing within our relationship is I haven't really had that much of a financial scoreboard, but I do know that it's common a lot within relationships because a lot of people are way more like split down the middle when it comes to money within couples. Like, we're not really that way. So it's not something that I have that big of a mental scoreboard to.
Well, our income is combined.
Yes. But with other people, that's not that common.
Yeah.
So I can definitely understand how that causes arguments and bickering and just like a lot of things that don't need to be caused. Because having the mental scoreboard is good for a lot of reasons when it comes to money because, you're not trying to waste all your hard-earned money. Not like waste, but like you're the only one spending it.
Yeah.
While the other person isn't. But then the other person has a good take on it too. Like, it's not like a waste or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they have a reason for not making more money.
Yeah. And I'm going to say something, and I don't want it to sound insulting to anyone, but it could, I suppose. I think the bigger problem out of this whole, like, I think it's more so okay for a woman to make less in a relationship than it is for guys. Like, that, to me, that becomes a huge problem because it fucks with our ego. If it fucks with it feels like it could fuck with your manhood. I've never really been in that situation, but I can imagine it pretty well, and I actually know some people who have been. But like, when you're with a woman who's just a fucking boss, she's a baller, she's making a lot of money, and the guy is like, he's a good dude, he's a man, like, he just doesn't make as much. A lot of things come into play, and as men, because we're aware that a woman is making more than us, we don't fit all the stereotypes, so we'll keep score even more. And then it will, like, start to fuck with our pride a little bit. Like, she's paying for everything. Like, well, what the fuck? I gotta figure it out. Like, I gotta do something different. It just, a lot of things come into play because, like, if the guy's always wanted to be a cop and he's a cop, and the girl always wanted to be a doctor, and like, you're obviously making more as a doctor, but he chased his dreams and still has a really good career type thing.
Yeah.
So like, there's certain times where it's not as impactful, but like, I don't know. It's just, as a dude, to have your woman making more than you and paying for everything, I would keep score, and I would be like, I need to get some bread. because I can't keep letting her fund my life.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. I do feel like the money situation is where quiet resentment lives. Like we talk
Yeah.
about where a lot of loud resentment is, but quiet resentment is definitely in the money category because it's not something that's always talked about, but it's like always just like kind of brewing.
Yeah.
Because it's an everyday thing.
It causes like insecurities that you didn't know existed and a lot of times shouldn't exist.
Yeah. Okay, so another one would be emotional scoreboard. Who checks in more? Who plans the hard conversations? Who remembers anniversaries and who comforts who? And so on.
And dates, is that under there too or no?
Yeah.
I can see how that would be very easily something you keep score of.
That just causes, if one person is doing it more, it causes the other one person to be the bigger emotional adult. In other words, one's the emotional adult and the other one is not. That's how it makes it seem.
And emotional things have a pretty big impact. I feel like when you are the highest scorer on the emotional scoreboard, you feel less wanted because you're doing it more.
You feel like unappreciated, like you don't like you're not cared about.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to emotional stuff, and you're the only one putting in effort, and you're not getting checked in on, or you're not being made to feel special about things, it's gonna bring you down mentally.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
So I do feel like having a happy median, and that is something that needs to be talked about. Definitely, is like if you're feeling like they're not there for you mentally or emotionally, you should communicate that sooner than later, so it's something that can be adjusted. Like we've talked about again before, habits can be changed, traits can't. And those are habits that you fall into, like not checking in with your partner, because I know damn well early on in relationships, people were the emotional stage was higher.
Yeah, for sure. What they call it, puppy love at the beginning. I was gonna say, like when it comes to like date planning and stuff, like something that worked for us is because you have always planned more dates than me.
I'm just more romantic.
Yeah. So, but something that like worked for us, even if we don't stick to it all the time, it still makes us do it a little bit more often, is like just we sat down and said like, okay, every other month, like let's switch off planning one date each.
Just one date. Yeah.
And even though like there's been plenty of months where we don't stick to it, it still has overall made us do it more, each of us. So
yep, we started that when we were pregnant, when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Back when we lived
I was pregnant too. I had food babies the whole time.
When I lived in Texas, or when we lived in Texas. And that worked really well. I think we did it twice a month. We each had one date planned.
Mm-hmm.
But that was also when we didn't have a child.
Yeah.
And things were a little bit easier, and work wasn't... We do way more work now than we did in Texas. So
yeah,
it was easier to incorporate that. But it's still very important to do at least one intentional date night a month. If it was my choice, we would still be doing the one-on-ones. Then we each can put in the same amount of effort, but that's just not how it works.
Yeah, but that's just food for thought for someone who doesn't plan dates as much.
And honestly, when it comes to dates, it doesn't need to be as hard as it seems.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be expensive.
It can just be like at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like do something different, set up the living room all cute with the stuff you have at home. Find stuff in the cabinet and the cupboards that you can just throw together and make her.
Yeah.
Like she would feel like special if you just made a cute little setup, lit some candles, made some concoction of dinner.
Yeah, I was gonna
at home.
say,
like you don't need to go spend money and do something.
Even like just planning to make a dinner that she likes that maybe you didn't talk about beforehand.
Yeah.
Type thing. So then when they ask like what's for dinner, you already know.
Damn, I wish you would do that.
I've done that.
If I ask you what's for dinner, and be
steak.
Like, one time.
Yeah, that was one time. To be honest, that was the first time I ever cooked steak, I think.
Well, you should make it again.
So there's that.
So scorekeeping is good and bad, and you should recognize the signs when it turns a little toxic.
It can definitely turn toxic.
You start withholding effort.
Mm-hmm.
You test your partner, you stop communicating your needs, and you want them to just figure it out.
Yep.
Those are signs of it being maybe a little toxic.
Yeah, we're all adults. You have to use your words. Nobody's going to figure it out. So you have to say things.
Yeah.
Also, I think it could be toxic if, like, your recency on the scorekeeping chart is outweighing overall. Like, you're discrediting everything before. Like, I know that recency matters more because it's more impactful to you right now. Like, we'll jump back to the sex topic. Like, the 4 days of saying no in a row is recent, and that does matter a lot. So that's going to be, like, the forefront of your mind. But also don't discredit everything before that type thing. Like, that's just an example. But that would be toxic to me because I know the recent matters and it needs to be resolved. But overall, it still matters too.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like scoreboards are good to have until they've reached a limit. You just want to have a safe boundary because you don't want it to be taken, the wrong direction. Scoreboards are meant to help and make things easier and better within your relationship and not make them toxic. So when you realize that it's making things worse than better, then that might be a sign to reevaluate your mental scoreboard.
I just think you have to tread lightly when it comes to keeping score.
Yes.
Like you're walking on a thin rope.
You don't want it to be tit for tat for everything. You don't want that.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
No.
That's a little toxic.
That goes back to a topic we talked on a different episode about what's part of being what's a chaotic home involve.
Oh, yeah.
Going tit for tat would be chaotic.
Yeah, with everything, definitely.
Yeah. So if you're doing scorekeeping, tread lightly and try not to make problems bigger than they are. Just be adults, have discussions.
It's definitely worked for us in our relationship. You just have to have a healthy boundary and not make it seem like it's a competition.
You got to talk without arguing through them.
Communicate.
Yeah, communicate.
But yeah, I think we covered everything we needed to cover in today's episode. I hope that you very much enjoyed this and learned some valuable information. Please go ahead and rate us a 5-star on Apple and Spotify.